Hey guys, this is Mr. H. Hey, I wanted to do a quick video on how to find positive, negative, and zero intervals. And what you see on my iPad right now is an XY coordinate, and I've shaded everything below the X-axis, and I've made it the color blue to indicate like it's water or the ocean. So basically, what I want you guys to associate is anything down there in the water or below the X-axis is negative. Anything above the X-axis is positive. Anything on the X-axis is zero. So this area up here is positive. This area down here is negative. And if you're on the X-axis, that's zero. All right, so now I want to do a couple examples on how to find intervals. So this question says, select the interval where g of x is greater than 0. So basically it's saying, where is the function positive? So in order to do this, the very first thing you should always do is find where the graph crosses the x-axis. And so this would be one of the places. That's not a very good vertical. That's one place where it crosses the x-axis. Here's another place. Let me try that again. Here's another place where it crosses the x-axis. Here is another place where it crosses the x-axis. And here is the fourth place where it crosses the x-axis. Now, once you have this, it's clear that from here over to here, that's positive because it's above the x-axis. This part here also is positive. So we got two places where it's positive. So let me go back and get rid of that. So, all right, so those are the positive places. And down here is where it's negative. Now, when we're trying to do this, we just know we need to know what the intervals are, what the x values are. So this x value would probably be like about negative 4.5 over to, let's say this is a negative 2.25. Unfortunately, it's not always going to be integers for the intervals, but still, right here, one of the intervals is 0, and then over here, I would say is about 3.5. So between a negative 4.5 to a negative 2.5, as you can see, it's positive, and also from 0 all the way over to 3.5, that's also positive. So we got two positive pieces. So let's look at the answers and see which one is the right choice. So from a negative 2 to a negative 1, that would be right here. You can see that this piece is negative. So that's not what we want. We want a positive piece of the graph. From a negative 1 to 0 would be here over to here. And that means that we'd be looking at this part of the graph. That's also negative. So that means that our answer has got to be the choice C. But let's go ahead and do it. It says between 0 and 1. So 0 and 1. So here is the part of the graph that we're looking at. And as you can see, it's above the x-axis, so it's going to be positive. That would be our answer. Now let's look at one more question. Now this one says to determine the domain on which the following graph is of f of x is negative. So again, the very first thing you should do is find where the graph crosses the x-axis. There's two places. Here's the first place, right here. And here's the second place, right here. So once you have those two, you know that this is 0, and this would be 4. So between 0 and 4, this part of the graph is negative. So that's what we're looking for. So this would be from 0 to 4. Put it in parentheses, that would be your answer. Now, even though the question is not asking for this, if we wanted to know where the graph is positive, we would have to put the other interval. So I'm going to put the interval for that. That's the beginning of the graph. And then I'm going to put the interval for that. That's the end of the graph. So now, please do not go, oh, from a negative 2 over to 0, it's positive. That's not true. Remember, when you have an arrow, that means it's going to go out to a negative infinity in the x direction. So actually, we would say from a negative infinity to 0, right here, this part is positive. because it's above the x-axis. And then the other part that we have would be from 4. And again, this is not going to 6. It's actually going out to a positive infinity. So we would put a positive infinity, and that would be this part of the graph. And as you can see, it's above the x-axis, so it's positive. That's how you find the positive or negative interval. You always start by finding where the graph crosses the x-axis. Put your vertical lines there because that's going to be the beginning or the end of your intervals. All right? I hope this has helped. And if you have any questions, let me know.